If you look at, this whole tragedy of Pahalgam, is there a bright spark? And I think this is the bright spark. People have come out against Pakistan. People have come out against terrorism. And this is the time to do a major outreach. Unfortunately, some of the immediate steps taken after that, going above houses, etc. You may be right in what you're doing, but the kind of spectacle that it provides, this really was absolutely unnecessary. Some of the narratives that you hear are around, look, the government is only concerned about the territory and not about the people. Jammu has its own issues. How do you get some kind of respectable resolution to the Kashmiri Pandit problem? The Gujar Bakarwals have their own sort of angst over some of the steps that have been taken. I think our conversation also needs to start between the people of Jammu and the people of Kashmir. Again, there is a fairly strong sort of divide that is there.
Three strikes in 9 years, new red lines drawn, headquarters of the Jaish-e-Mohammed and the Lashkar-e-Taiba damaged. The million-dollar question remains, has Pakistan been deterred?
I think what India is trying to say is that there is going to be a cost that is going to be imposed on Pakistan for promoting terrorism, within India. Deterring Pakistan is a long game, Harinder, so I'm not sure whether, one strike will do. I think what the government has done well this time also is that they are also following up with diplomatic steps. They put Pakistan on notice as far as the Indus Water Treaty is concerned. So I think a combination of these steps and, military action that has been taken, and this time significantly different from what we have seen in the past. So as I said, I think what India is trying to tell Pakistan is the continued use of terrorism will come at a price, will come at a cost, and that is something that you need to be prepared for. Perhaps in the long term, Harinder, you could see some kind of a deterrent effect. But as we know, Pakistan has been using proxies, terrorists as a part of its state policy. And it's not going to be easy for them to just give this up because they feel, their conventional inferiority is, sort of overcome by use of terrorism and proxy actors.
Prime Minister Modi made India's line rather clear by saying that he will not distinguish between state actors and non-state actors. But you feel, and you're the military expert, that Pakistan will continue its policy of bleeding India through 1,000 cuts.
Look, this is something that they have been doing, Haran. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that what is also clear to them is, one, that this will come at a price. There will be a cost to what you are doing. And I think the second thing is, more critically, importantly, in every crisis, Pakistan would wave the nuclear card and say, look, if you do anything, this could just quickly escalate into the nuclear domain. And I think that is also something that India has now made it quite clear that space exists and that we will carry out military operations despite, the fact that both countries are nuclear armed. The reason I say continued use of proxies, it's something that is very ingrained in their military culture. That proxies are going to be used. India is a superior country, and therefore, what is the way in which we can keep sort of India engaged? It's also not easy, Narendra, for the Pakistan military to break its very deep nexus with the jihadis, because that could also lead to a blowback on them. And so I'm saying these are some of the issues where I think, it's unlikely that suddenly Pakistan is going to turn around and say, look, we are now going to sort of eschew terrorism and we are not going to do it. It could happen in the future, but I think as a part of a sustained pressure on Pakistan, financially, diplomatically, the threat of military action, all this over a sustained period of time is something that perhaps can pay dividends rather than hoping that one military operation will force Pakistan to see them.
Let's look at it from Pakistan's perspective. They've got a bailout from the IMF. General Asim Munir, their army chief, is now a field marshal. They've also secured the vice chair at the United Nations Security Council for counter-terrorism. That is so ironic. I mean, you're talking about sustained pressure. None of these points to any pressure. In fact, Pakistan seems to be giving the impression that they're the ones who won this round.
So, this war of the narratives is very crucial. What we call information warfare is very important. And I think Pakistan, for its domestic audience, has been able to say that, we've held off this pressure from India, we've caused losses. In fact, Shehbaz Sharif is describing it as, a revenge for the 1971 war. Now, but the reality, Harinder, is that they were hit. There was significant destruction to their military air force infrastructure. The point about the IMF loan and Pakistan's role in the Security Council, as I said, sometimes we want sort of immediate results and immediate impact. I think it will happen over a period of time. There is talk that suddenly now India, Pakistan have got hyphenated. Diplomatically, we've not been able to score the kind of wins that we had. I think these are all lessons, for India as we go forward and look at how to manage this relationship with Pakistan. There is a requirement of sustained pressure. There is a requirement for our diplomacy to step up and keep this pressure on Pakistan that this is a state sponsor of terrorism. Bring in pressure through institutions like the Financial Action Task Force, etc. Bilaterally, I think this Indus Water Treaty being held in abeyance is a signal to Pakistan that look, everything cannot be fine as long as you keep exporting terror. I also say, Harinder, we need some kind of conversation also going with Pakistan. I mean, really the complete absence of conversation. Now, whether it is direct, whether it is back channel, whether it is through track tools, etc. But I think some communication channel needs to be kept going with Pakistan.
Do you really see this conversation happening, General Hooda? Because Prime Minister Modi has clearly said on more than one occasion that talks and terror cannot go hand in hand.
I know. That's what I said. Whether we are doing this openly or we are doing this through back channel, there is there are reports that the ceasefire agreement between India and Pakistan of 2021 actually came about as a result of some back channel conversation, back channel talk. So I think that can sort of can help. If we don't want to be seen as directly diplomatically engaging, at least some back channel talks are also good, Harinder, for crisis management. The way things are between India and Pakistan, I think there is a need to have some crisis management mechanism in place so that things don't really escalate and go out of control.
I would like to draw your attention to a tweet by former Army Chief General V.P. Malik. This is a tweet he posted on May the 10th, which is the day that the ceasefire was declared. And he said, "We have left India's future history to ask what politico-strategic advantages, if any, were gained after its kinetic and non-kinetic actions post Pakistani horrific terror strike in Pahalgam on 22nd April. Do you agree with General Malik? I mean, any gains?
Military action is always driven by what the political objectives are. We may agree or disagree whether these political objectives were correct or not, but in my reading, the political objective at the start was that, look, we are going to hit terror camp. If you look at the statement by the foreign secretary, he said these are measured, non-escalatory. Uh, we have not hit any military targets. So I think it was limited to, look, we are going to hit your terrorist infrastructure, including the headquarters of Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar. And if that was the sort of limited political objective to start with, and as I said, we can debate whether it was right or wrong. Then I think what we did achieve whatever we set out to do on day one. I think also as the matter escalated, uh, the second stage, as I call it, on May 8th and 9th, when Pakistan retaliated with drone strikes, etc., I think we quite successfully managed to neutralize that threat. And when there was a dramatic escalation on the night of 9th, 10th, I think our ability to hit targets deep inside Pakistan, almost across the breadth of Pakistan, was very well done by the Indian Air Force.
There are questions also about the ceasefire and why India agreed to that ceasefire. Do you think India agreed because it had met its objectives? Or do you think India agreed because Donald Trump and his administration started working the phone lines?
Oh, I think so. There is no doubt that Donald Trump's administration did work phone lines. I mean, that has been admitted. This question is often asked, why did India sort of agree to a ceasefire at that stage? If you look at statements by India, every time was, we don't want to escalate. And so I think at that stage, if that is what India set out to do, but send out a clear message that terrorism will not, we are not going to remain sort of passive bystanders, and we'll actively take some action. If that was, the sort of intent behind the military operation, then I would say the ceasefire falls in line with whatever thinking was going on in the Gulf.
Would you agree that Donald Trump, the president of the United States, has emerged as the crisis manager?
Yeah, so Pakistan has clearly stated, the leadership has stated that the ceasefire came about because, Trump's administration and their efforts. Although India clearly says that that is not the case. But United States historically has been a mediator in India-Pakistan crisis. I think if you look at Balakot, I mean, post Balakot, again, it was President Trump who said, look, I have made sure that this crisis gets de-escalated. So America has a role, and surely you would see that also in the next crisis, which is why, Harinder, I said, the diplomacy must not be restricted only to crisis management.
Pahalgam was a deliberate escalation. I want to ask you, why did General Asim Munir choose to escalate at this point of time?
It was a deliberate provocation. The manner in which it was done. It's not something that, suddenly a few terrorists have stumbled across some tourists and decided to sort of open fire. I think there are 2-3 reasons. One is, things were getting better in Jammu and Kashmir. I know people point out to increasing incidents in Jammu in the last 2-3 years. But if you look at the overall data of violence levels, terrorist kills, civilian deaths, etc., things were improving. You were having record number of tourists who were coming inside. And in fact, the government was claiming tourist figures as one of the metrics for success, that everything is now normal and fine. That's happening. I also think, if you look at what was happening within Pakistan, one is that they were more sort of openly claiming that India has been supporting militancy in Balochistan. That's something that they had started saying. And the Baloch militancy was really growing in ferocity. Attacks not only on Pakistan military, but more importantly on the China-Pakistan economic corridor. Yeah. Then the Jafar Express, etc. Uh, Maybe there was frustration over that, and then of course, Pakistan Army itself, its reputation was in jeopardy. People were asking within Pakistan that why is the army propping up an unpopular leadership while the most popular leader Imran Khan remains in jail. So I think a combination of these things, and you could say now, you know, the reputation of Pakistan military is high after what happened. General Asim Munshi has been promoted to field marshal. So I think a combination of all these issues probably led to what they did in.
This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. Spring calls for a wardrobe refresh, and Nordstrom has the best styles of the season. From dresses and denim to standout tops and accessories, find the trends and essentials that feel right for you. Discover new arrivals from brands you love like Wave, Princess Polly, Mango, Adidas, and Free People. Plus, free shipping and returns and free styling appointments make everything so easy. Shop in stores at Nordstrom.com or download the Nordstrom app.
It's a pity, isn't it, that Jammu and Kashmir gets caught bang in the middle each time tensions soar between India and Pakistan. I've always believed, and you can correct me if I'm wrong or your point of view is different. I think looking just at the number of tourists is the wrong yardstick to measure normalcy.
Harinder, I agree with you. So, and I have been saying this, how do you measure success in Jammu and Kashmir? And I think we need to start looking at, what indicators we are using. So, but I think we need to do a little sort of deeper analysis of what's the sentiment among the people, what is happening to, levels of radicalization within the state. These are also some, is intelligence flowing in the way we want it to flow in? I think all these are some areas that we need to now seriously. Now, these are not very easy to sort of measure. But unless we take these indicators into consideration, often, we will tend to sort of fall into the trap of everything is fine when actually things are not completely fine.
Isn't it just the right time for a political outreach? I mean, Kashmir has been waiting for that political outreach for years. You watched the ground situation very closely as the Northern Commander. You saw how Kashmiris responded to Pahalgam. They came out in such large numbers and said, not in our name.
Absolutely. And if you look at, this whole tragedy of Pahalgam, is there a bright spark? And I think this is the bright spark that people have come out against Pakistan, people have come out against terrorism. And this is the time to do a major outreach. Unfortunately, and I have no hesitation in saying this, that, some of the immediate steps taken after that, this blowing up of houses, etc. You may be right in what you're doing, but, the kind of spectacle that it provides, this really was absolutely unnecessary. Just the opposite of what we should have been doing in terms of a greater outreach to the people. So the opportunity is there, Harinder, now for the government to now step up and say, look, we are here for you people. And, as long as your support is there, we should be able to completely sort of finish terrorism. How will it go? It'll only go with, people completely turn their back against it. So this is a great opportunity, and I just hope the government takes this.
So what are the steps you think the government needs to take? I mean, will the restoration of statehood be enough, or does the government need to do more?
Whatever we do, whatever campaigns are there, should be directed at the people. I've always believed, and I think many of us in uniform have believed, that a long-term solution will require a completely people-centric approach, where people are at the heart of how we are doing this. So, restoration of statehood is one step, because it leads to sort of more political empowerment of the people. That would help. A campaign, frankly, some of the narratives that you hear in Jammu and Kashmir are around look, the government is only concerned about the territory and not about the people. And so I think that narrative needs to get reversed that, look, we care for you as much as we care for citizens in other countries. And I think we should also look, beyond Kashmir. Jammu has its own issues. So we have to look at Jammu. I mean, how do you get some kind of respectable resolution to the Kashmiri Pandit problem that needs to be also looked at and viewed. The Gujar Bakarwals have their own sort of angst over some of the steps that have been taken. There needs to be an out. So as I said, an outreach for different communities, different people. I think our conversation also needs to start between the people of Jammu and the people of Kashmir, because again there is a fairly strong sort of divide that is there, and as long as Jammu and Kashmir are together as part of union territory of the state, they obviously need to understand, have a conversation with each other. Often we are only managing the conflict, managing by saying, look, let's keep the violence levels down. But there is a difference between how you manage the conflict and how you look at the long-term resolution.
Prime Minister Modi was at Katra on June 6th and to flag off the Vande Bharat, and he spoke of development. But while that is important, Jammu and Kashmir, as you point out, there are so many wounds, starting from the migration of the Pandits to, how the Kashmiris have been singled out for punishment. Kashmir really needs a conversation. It needs compassion. It needs a dialogue.
In any conflict, and those who've studied it, there are limits to the development model. I'm not saying development is not important, but to say that, economic betterment and economic development is something that is, going to completely lead to a solution is not right, as you said. There are historical grievances. There are narratives of victimhood. There are different, people from different communities who have different issues that need to be addressed. So once, these are things that can be looked at by the government. As you said, dialogue is absolutely essential.
Let's also talk about the Air Force Chief's statement. He was addressing the business community, and he talked about the shortage of made in India equipment, and said that often we sign the contract knowing that we will not get our equipment. That's pretty serious.
The Air Force has a serious issue with regard to dwindling fighter aircraft fleet. They're just down to about 30 squadrons now. We have been saying that we are going to be sort of very heavily reliant on indigenous Tejas aircraft, but those aircraft have also got delayed because engines were not coming in from GE in the US. So he has a absolutely right point to make that look, we have a problem with what is being produced in India, and there are delays as far as the chair is concerned. And I think there is a case perhaps for at least importing some fighter aircraft to meet our sort of immediate requirements.
Before I let you go, I must ask you this last question, maybe second last. If you were the Chief of Defense Staff or the National Security Advisor, what would your two priority areas be today post Pahalgam, post General Munir's various statements?
Look, I think we need to very clearly sort of study what our new warfighting strategy should be. That strategic thinking, that strategic plan must be made. I think Operation Sindoor has shown us you're going to have a crisis. Obviously, we have said that we won't make any distinction between state and non-state actors. So the next crisis is going to be geographically more widespread. We've already seen that, as opposed to 2016-19, where there was very limited sort of operation. The escalation could be faster. I think you could if it extends for a few days, we could also see the Navy coming into picture. And so therefore, how are we going to handle the next crisis? What is going to be our strategy? That is one thing that we need to be absolutely clear about, so that we are not on the fly, trying to see, how to tackle the next step, escalatory step after we do something. So there must be a clear plan in place. And also now I think we need to start looking at what is the kind of equipment mix that is good for us. So we've been talking, for example, about drone warfare, counter drone system, precision standoff weapons, not only for the Air Force, but also for the Army, for the artillery, etc. So a mix of, our strategic thinking and clear idea about what are the kind of capabilities we need to be developing for India. And finally, the China factor. While China may not do anything directly on the line of actual control, I think you will see massive technical support, equipment support coming from Pakistan. Pakistan already has access to the Chinese military satellite system technology. You could well see a sharpened cyber war next time. So these are some of the areas that I think we need to be looking at.
My last question. All through the interview, you have talked about the next crisis. I know it's difficult to put a timeline, but how soon do you anticipate India and Pakistan being in a tit for tat once again?
I can't give you a time. I think what's clear is with the position that India has taken, which has been outlined by the Prime Minister, that we will respond to any terrorist strike. We are not going to make any distinction between terrorists and their handlers and those who are behind it, and also that we are not going to be deterred by the nuclear shadow. With these pronouncements, it's almost that we have committed ourselves to taking action whenever the next strike happens. What is also clear is that Pakistan will retaliate. They are not going to deny that nothing had happened like they did in 2016, saying, "Oh, surgical strike didn't happen." So you can expect a retaliation, which is why I'm saying the next crisis is going to happen. When and how, I really can't tell you. But I think it's clear that we are not in a position where the two nations are looking to solve and resolve issues and concerns.
Always a pleasure talking to you, General Hooda. Thank you so much for speaking to the Quint.
Thank you, Ranjit. All the best. Bye.